Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Restoration Talk. Today, we're going to discuss another parable of the Messiah. We discussed many of his parables the past few weeks, and this was the last one that we dealt with. Last Sabbath, the minister spoke about the lost sheep. That's a very famous parable, a lot of new insights, a lot of new things to think about. And today we are going to discuss this topic from our own perspectives, but also we want to know what you guys have learned from this session. So, welcome. I'm not doing this by myself. I always have a brother or a sister with me, and I'm happy to do so. And also for those at home, feel free to join in our comment section. You can ask us questions. You can also give us certain arguments or other ways of thinking. We are open for discussion. Yes? Okay, so let's start. The lost sheep. I can give a summary, but you guys can also give a summary of what the parable is about. Yes? So either Sam or Heli, one of you. What is the lost sheep about?
Summer,
Ellie, go ahead.
youngest. Summer, the youngest. Go ahead. We don't see often,
The
so.
the people that point are usually the one that need to start. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, yeah, zeg. Okay. My understanding of the lost sheep was show about last week was about Elohim's people,
Mm-hmm.
if I can say it like that. So the ones who belongs to Elohim are seeking them. Um, yeah, what can I say more? Yeah, in big lines, that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
the lost sheep is about Elohim's people.
yeah.
Maybe I can also ask you before the teaching, right?
Mhm.
What was your understanding of that parable?
Oh, good question. Um, before my understanding about the parable before the show
Mm-hmm.
was what I always thought was um okay, like a sheep. How do you say? A sheep went astray, or a sheep was lost, and Elohim was seeking that particular sheep because that sheep also has how do you say it? Has a chance of
Mm-hmm.
being helped or of being rescued. So in my mind, it was always like Elohim rescuing a person. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how I interpreted it before watching the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think both things that you mentioned, right, can be taken together
Yeah.
when we look at the teaching itself. Because the lost sheep, when I think of that parable, I always remembered the part of the shepherd leaving the 99 and then to go
Mhm.
out and look for that one sheep and would come back with that one sheep or would really put in the effort to find it and then bring it back,
Right. Yeah.
and how joyful that shepherd was for having that one sheep back in his flock. So that was my understanding of the parable itself.
Mm.
And I think, yeah, what was new based on the teaching of last week was more so really focusing it on the people of Elohim.
Yeah.
Did not necessarily connect that to maybe
No,
the
same.
Hebrew Israelites or his
No. Yeah.
the children that are scattered abroad. So yeah, very interesting one. And there were several things that were mentioned, right, in the parable. He talked about the shepherd, talked about the wilderness, sheeps and goats. And
Yeah.
Samuel, what was your understanding of those things? Because there were quite a lot of terms that were mentioned.
Sorry, I did not hear you near the end. Can you repeat it?
So my question was, there were certain things that the minister mentioned.
Yeah.
So the shepherd, the wilderness, sheep, goats. For someone that is watching for the first time, that person is might think we are talking about a zoo or something, but that's not what we are talking about. So could you shortly explain what each of these terms meant or what it referred to?
Yeah. What I can remember is that the wolf was, I think, referring to the false prophets.
Hmm.
So that is one of the yeah, of the terms that were being used.
Mhm.
I think the wilderness is also the place of where you're really searching to, yeah, where you need to go because the sheep were obviously lost. You're
Mhm.
finding your way back, but in the wilderness, it's it's like everything is the same, but you're also in a place that you're under constant danger of temptation. You don't know where it's coming from. It could come from behind you,
Mhm.
from above you, and even from under you, just from every place.
Mhm.
And the sheep, obviously, I think the sheep was referring to the people of Elohim. So the people that need to return towards their shepherd because the sheep were one of
Mhm.
the sheep were lost, and the other, the goat, that's the part that I forgot about. So maybe
Mhm.
one of you can add on to that.
Mhm. Elena?
Oh,
Should
that's
I? No, no.
no, I thought you were continuing with the other ones. Oh, yeah, the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it refers to people that claim to believe, but actually they don't. They just follow the mass when
Mm.
things are like comfortable or good, but when it comes to like really um pursuing the faith, obeying Yah's word, then they like, nah, I'm alright.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like a bit of lukewarm, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, lukewarm believers.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's an excellent word to describe them.
yeah,
Lukewarm believers.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
remember that the minister mentioned that everyone everyone was once a lost sheep, or even when he mentioned the goats, right? Sometimes you
yeah,
can identify yourself with how
yeah.
the goat,
We were all good.
behaves. Yeah, we were. Uh, there was this my previous Sunday school teacher always told us don't be a goat. He once gave us a
Ah,
message and he always said don't be a goat. And he was explaining the characteristics of a goat and the
mhm.
characteristic of a sheep. And I found it very nice to hear that the minister also reflected on those characteristics, because sometimes the Bible uses animals or certain
Yeah,
words, and you might think like, why are you
true.
using this word? But if you look at the characteristics of the thing that is mentioned, then you understand why that word was used. So goats are lukewarm, goats are very
Yeah,
stubborn, do not want to listen at all. They do what they want to do. And sheeps are very docile.
meek. Yeah,
They need a shepherd. They're quite, I don't want to say stupid, but
yeah,
hmm,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's the right word to use. I once saw a clip where a sheep jumped off something, a cliff or some, and all the sheep
Oh, we're
followed.
following
I was
them.
like, it doesn't make sense, but
Yeah,
that is how a sheep is. It just follows. So, yeah, Helena, you mentioned goats. We talked about sheeps. Are there moments in your own life where you could really say, okay, in this area, I was really, really being a goat,
good.
or really being a sheep? Maybe you can
Oh,
clarify both.
yeah, good question. I think like maybe begin of the journey,
Hmm.
yeah, that I was like more a goat. Just because I didn't know like yeah, yeah, a lot of, yeah, not a lot of doubt, but just not knowing what it really means to believe, what
Hmm.
it really means to have faith. Um, do I like question like do I have faith? Do I really want to keep all the commandments? Like all those questions, and then um I was like, okay, let me just start the journey and I will see. But I noticed that during my journey, um, sometimes I would just do something because someone's able, maybe a brother says or a minister says
Hmm.
like, oh, you need to do that, so just do it. So it wasn't my own convict. I was not doing things per se on my based on my own convictions.
Conviction? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Conviction, yeah, yeah, yeah. um but I think I would say I was half goat, half sheep because I don't know. That is actually a question. Can you be half goat, half sheep? But
She
maybe we
goat.
can discuss that later.
Yeah.
But because I was obeying, yeah, in a sense,
Hmm.
but although it was not 100% based on faith. It was like, okay, people are saying do that, and then along my journey, I yeah, just wanted my own relationship with Elohim and
Mhm.
trying to do that so that when he speaks, that I can how do you say, I can recognize what he's saying to me, and I can make decision based on what Elohim tells me, and not per se
Mhm.
based on what people tell me. And it's still a journey because it's easier said than done. But yeah, I think also what the minister said, like a characteristic of a sheep is also
Mhm.
like being obedient, staying humble, patience, following the lead of Elohim, and that is really what I'm trying to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very recognizable.
yeah.
The aspect that you mentioned. Um, Goat moments, yeah. I think we all had goat moments, right? When I look at how I lived my life before the journey, I'm like, I didn't want to hear anything of anyone.
Mm,
Um, the, in certain areas, I was quite obedient, right? But in
yeah.
other areas, I might have a dream, or there was just a word that came and I didn't understand, and I didn't really want to listen to what it had to say. So I just often chose my own path. So when the minister mentioned like goats are stubborn, I was like,
Mm,
"Hmm, I can recognize myself in that aspect." And yeah, the sheep. I think the part of being a sheep is really just following the lead of a shepherd
yeah.
without asking too many questions. Well, you guys know me. I ask a lot
Hello.
of
Yeah.
questions, and that's not a bad thing. But
Yeah.
sometimes Elohim might tell you something or says that you have to do something, and the question
There's no
question
why.
is not
Just
needed. And yeah, as you said,
yeah.
there is no why. It's just
Yeah.
do this. Yeah, but why? Just do
No
it,
way.
and then you
Yeah.
will see for yourself. So that is something that I'm really um, practicing with now,
Mm,
and also trying to just let that go. So when Elohim says to move, just do it without you knowing the result or how it would end. That is really a learning point, and as you said, a journey for me at the moment.
yeah.
And Sam, are you
Yeah.
a goat or are
Uh,
you a sheep?
Of
I,
half goat, half sheep.
I think yeah. I think it's edging more towards goat than sheep, to be honest.
Mm,
But that's for me because usually I can be very stubborn, but not because I want to be stubborn, but because when something is correct in my head, it's hard for me to just adjust it just because someone else says it.
yeah.
Mm,
So I also has to have to convince myself because otherwise, at a certain point, I'll be like, why am I even doing this? And then I'll just do what's logical in my own head. So
Mm,
that's why I've often been perceived as being stubborn. But in my own head, I'm not even stubborn. It's just like this makes more sense for me. But sometimes in life, you just have to follow someone else's lead,
mhm,
especially
mm.
when you know the shepherd is leading you towards a safe place, to say it like that, or to guide you towards somewhere that is a better destination for you. And
mhm,
you just have to follow, and that's something that you have to also adjust into your mind when you when you have been used to being a goat, because
yeah.
yeah, a goat doesn't really like to follow. And also in this generation, people make fun of sheep, so it's even harder to maybe
Mhm,
accept being a sheep. So
But how do
mm,
you make? What do you mean? People nowadays make
when
fun of sheep.
people use the term sheep, it's always negative. It's like you're just following the
Oh,
crowd, or you're just following the hype. You're just
mhm,
following the masses. That's what being a sheep is like in this generation. And usually, the goat is what people want to be because
oh yeah.
they have
I heard it
reached.
also. Yeah, you're the goat.
in
Yeah,
Like
sport.
also
instead.
in sports, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they try
Yeah. Oh, now
to
I understand.
recreate the image of a goat and instead make it the greatest of all time.
Mhm.
Mm,
I think there's a hidden agenda behind it. So that,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Now
that
you
one,
mentioned it. Yeah.
yeah.
because nobody wants to be a sheep. People only want to be a goat, and it may seem like a joke sometimes, but unintentionally you also never want to be seen as a sheep, even though you have to be a sheep at certain points. to
Hmm.
yeah
Yeah,
to come
Yeah.
further.
I think that's also the important distinction, because in this world, everyone wants to be the goat,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
nobody wants to be a sheep. In the context of the faith, you have to be a sheep and not necessarily be a goat.
yeah,
And I think it's for each and every one of us, we really have to find a way to balance the two opposite type of contexts.
Mm.
Because if you're a sheep in our world, it doesn't make sense. You
yeah,
shouldn't be someone that just without a
Yeah.
mind,
Follow the
mindless
crowd.
following the people.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
have to be critical. You have to push, or you have to kick against the pricks. Whilst in our faith, yeah, sometimes you have to surrender. Not even sometimes, always
Yeah,
just surrender your
Yeah.
will to that of Elohim. So, people in the comment section, please
Yeah.
let
You
us
have
know:
tips. How can we
are you a sheep,
balance?
sheep,
How can we
or a
balance?
goat? Let us know. You can do it in caps lock. There are people watching, so I know that some people might identify with sheep, some might with goats. And I think one of the, I wouldn't even say most important, but I found that very beautiful was the fact that the minister highlighted the part of lost sheep,
Mm.
because he placed it in the context of Hebrew Israelites, but he also spoke about those that are maybe scattered abroad and how they fit into this entire parable. What was your opinion on that
What do you mean?
when it comes to the scattered ones? So yeah, you have those that
Mm-hmm.
are already under maybe a shepherd, but you also have people that are not under a shepherd yet, might be the children of Elohim.
Mm.
How do we deal with that?
you mean
Yeah.
just as believers that have been able to find a shepherd? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also very difficult because
Mhm.
it is not like we did something great to find a good shepherd. It's more that the shepherds found us in a way, actually,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
it was not in my case. To be honest, it was not me that reached out like, "Hey, where can I find a shepherd that can lead me towards Elohim?" But it's
Hmm.
like certain people were placed in your life that, pushed you in the right direction multiple times, and after a while, I just ended up in a place like, "Hey, this is actually more useful for me. I can also find the truth in what they are telling. When
Hmm.
I read for myself, I can also connect towards towards Elohim, and that's how I reached the point that I was able to find a good shepherd. But I don't know how it can be for other people that actually don't have a clue of where they need to go.
Yeah.
Because that was not that is not what I
Mhm.
experienced. It was more like it was there for me. It was just me that needed to come to the right place. But some
Hmm.
people are searching for that place and cannot find it. So I cannot really relate to those people, if I'm being honest,
Hmm.
Yeah.
because that's not what I've experienced.
And that's fair enough, right?
Mhm.
I follow quite a lot of people, or that say that they're Hebrew Israelites on YouTube, and many of them don't have a shepherd or a someone that is leading them. So the insights that they have gathered is maybe based on own research, or there's this something that they experienced, they heard a
Mhm.
voice that was leading them. And yeah, I find it always sad when they make the statement that they wish that they had some type of community or someone to lead them. um, but I also believe that Elohim makes a way,
Yeah, that's what
in
I
that
wanted to
sense.
say.
Even for the people that don't have a shepherd, you see that Elohim leads them through just things that we might see as small, or we have heard of a shepherd. Those are things that they learn by themselves. So I actually admire a part of their
Yeah.
journey, because they had to figure it out all by themselves. But my prayer for them is also to eventually find someone to lead them, so that they at least have someone to help them in the journey, because it's not easy. But I thank Elohim for the fact that he is always so good towards his children, that even in their own situations, he makes a way out.
Because do
Yeah.
you think it's possible that yeah, there's a person that belongs to Elohim, for example, but in his lifetime that he doesn't find a shepherd close to him,
Ooh, good
That's a good
question.
question.
because is it always necessary that there's a physical, yeah, embodiment near, close to you in a close proximity, or is
Mhm.
maybe someone that, before, like the show Hour of Restoration, is that also considered as a shepherd for somebody else that doesn't have anyone
Hmm.
close to them?
That's a very good
It's a good
question. And
question.
I do not have the answer to that, but the part of restoration talks, I think that that is a perspective that we should have when we
Yeah.
actually do this show, when we do the radio show. Sometimes the things that we do is the only thing that the person has closest to maybe having a shepherd, as you said. So we shouldn't take it lightly.
Yeah. True.
We are also doing our best to help those that are listening. Um, so yeah, I do see this as a part of also leading or guiding someone towards the right place. If that answers your question.
Yeah, but do you also think that there's a shepherd out there for everyone? Just
That's a yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know.
when it's
Mm,
really meant to be for you to have a shepherd, that Elohim will eventually give you one.
mm.
Because I think yeah, you would yeah. I
because
think
do
it
you guys see
needs.
a shepherd as a, in your close proximity, as a crucial part of your journey? And how do you think someone without, such a person in their close proximity would, yeah, finish their journey successfully?
Ish, critical
Strange
questions.
questions.
No, but your question is very valid. Um, yeah, if I look at the parable itself,
Yeah,
well, the shepherd is a. I see the shepherd as a physical person that is leading you, and I believe that in where that person may be or where that person may find him or herself, that Elohim will also raise someone to help that person or to lead that person.
yeah,
Um, so that's what I would say. It's a very good question. So I'm talking, but I'm thinking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen many examples of people that don't have anyone at this moment, but they're still growing in their faith.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, Elohim helps his own in his own ways, I would say. Yeah. How do you think about it?
Yeah. So
I think it's still possible, but it is
Mm-hmm.
more difficult. And I think what's also important is maybe people that you can also relate to. I
Yeah.
think that's also an important part, because when you have a shepherd, that means that there are multiple, usually there are multiple sheep that are being led. So also other people that you can follow. But if there's nobody that you can, even, yeah, because sheep, they just copy what the other sheep are doing. If you don't have another sheep around
mm,
you, that's even more difficult when you don't have a sheep and a shepherd. So I think, but
Mm-hmm.
also even more, yeah, maybe not as important, but on the same, yeah, how do you say it in English? On the same,
Level.
level.
level, yeah, but not on the exact same level, but just beneath it, is
Mm-hmm.
also someone that you can bond with on a spiritual level. I think that you can relate to and also be able to copy them in positive ways. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have anyone close to you that can lead you, it can be difficult. Because trying
Yeah.
to figure out things on your own, it doesn't always lead to good outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
because good intentions don't always act in good actions. So,
True.
Good
True.
ones.
True.
Good statement. A lot of food for thought for the people at home. I'm
Yeah. Good
quite
question.
curious to what everyone at home is thinking. Is this possible? Um, Growing, finding a way without a shepherd or not? Please let us know. You can also send us a question afterwards. But this is one that I will really think about because, as
Yeah.
you said, if someone is continuously going through it alone, people also need other people to sometimes learn things from, to sharpen each other, and that person doesn't have that. So
Yeah. It's a very
yeah,
good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking myself like, how would it be if I haven't you guys around me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, would I be at a place where I am right now or not? So yeah.
Yes, because that's why at the beginning I also said it's usually hard for me to relate to someone that hasn't found a shepherd, because even in my own experience, I didn't even search for it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like it came on my path. But I can also imagine that there are people, because even the word says that there are people that are trying to find the truth,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find the right people, but yeah, have difficulties finding them. So that's why those questions came into my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something just came to mind when you were talking. Um, Maybe I'll get back to it. I just lost it. Um, and we were speaking mostly about then Hebrew Israelites, right?
Yeah.
But the minister also mentioned Gentiles, and what I have seen happen very, 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 very often, especially when you look at those Hebrew camps, but
Yeah, they're
even
mentioned
maybe
there.
other Hebrew Israelites, there's a certain type of attitude or behavior towards those that are not black
Yeah,
and just are from a whole different type of stock.
Yeah,
And
mostly
I'm
white.
always wondering whether that is, I'm not even wondering, I know that that's not the right way to treat people. But how do you view the part of Gentiles and the lost sheep in this entire story? Maybe you've experienced something yourself in that area.
Mm, no, I haven't experienced something similar with with a Gentile per se, but um, yeah, I think if you look at the when it comes to lost sheep of Israel, like it is yeah, our forefathers and mothers, they created it themselves. It is hard, maybe harsh to say, but it's true disobedience that
Yeah.
we are where we are right now.
Hmm.
And I can understand, of course, like what the other nations have done to black people. It's just
Crazy.
it's crazy. So
Hmm.
uh it's easier said like, yeah, I forgive them, they also need a chance. It's easy to say, but
Hmm.
because at first I was like, okay, yeah, but they don't deserve it because they were really very harsh to black people as well. But what the minister also said last week is that yeah, we shouldn't forsake them as well, because like yeah, Jacob and Esau, they were also like brothers. So we also need to see them also like brothers and sisters. But that doesn't mean that um, we need to invite everyone with open arms. Of
Hmm.
course, is
You shouldn't
all
even do
about
that with
applying
Hebrew
wisdom.
Israelites.
Sorry.
You shouldn't even do that with
Oh
Hebrew
yeah.
Israelites. Don't invite
It has to
everyone
do
in.
with wisdom and how sincere is the person. Like, is he willing to be a sheep under the is he is that gentle seeking to be a sheep? Um, but yeah, I think indeed, if it comes to belief, there shouldn't be how do you say this a difference based on
Hmm.
color or whatsoever, because at the end of the day it's about being obedient to and the ones who will seek him in sincerity, these ones shall be saved, whether you're black or white.
Hmm.
So there's no need for hate,
Yeah,
yeah, but
because if there was need for
yeah, okay.
hate, we wouldn't be here right now, because Elohim could also have destroyed us of a long time
fair,
ago.
fair. Samuel, you're looking
Yeah,
very
yes,
critical. What?
yeah,
What?
Like it's understandable, but I think it's easier said for. Yeah, that also depends on where you're living, because in
yeah.
America,
Okay, in America it
I can
was,
I can easily understand why they have such a behavior,
Yeah.
and I think in
yeah,
their perspective is also like you Gentiles, you already have this earth. We also want something else to claim, and I think that's why they sometimes are like, you guys, Elohim is not for you guys, or you're not welcome. The word is not for the Gentiles, but even in the word itself, I think it says that when the Gentiles submit to the law of Elohim and also
Exactly.
his
Mhm.
principles, they
Mhm.
are allowed.
Yeah.
But it is
Mhm.
it's just the hatred that they feel because of the things that they've been through and sometimes they're still going through. And that's why I said in the place where we live, we also experience, like, for example, racism and discrimination and whatever. But I
Mhm.
think usually in America it's a little
Yeah,
bit
it's
heavier than what
worse.
we, because when I think about racism, I don't even have a lot of um how do I say it? A lot of heavy memories, like, oh, this time I went home and I cried, or I felt
Oh,
violated.
but you don't
But
have to cry, right?
no, but just for example,
What?
but I think in America a lot of people have been through those
Yeah,
situations,
suffering.
and
Yeah.
even on a regular basis. So I can understand their frustrations and also where they're coming from, because they don't really have something to claim right now. Some of the people there don't even have a country that they can claim. They are just
Yeah.
Afro Americans.
Yeah.
So they just want something that
True.
they can have like an inheritance to, and just want to push the people that did them harm
Mhm.
away from it. But unfortunately, it's not that easy,
Yeah.
and that's not also how it's ordained.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if they are willing to submit, you should just allow them. Because
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
eventually it is not even the same person that did your forefathers wrong, and you were also not there. So if you want to see it like that, you should also remember that it is not the exact same person that is in front of you that did your forefathers harm those years ago.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's easier said than done.
But we just
This
said this
is
is a
a
bloodline, though.
Yeah,
that is those are the arguments that we hear. No, we shouldn't hold them
It's a
accountable.
bloodline.
They are not there.
I'm not even defending them, so
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get it
yeah.
wrong. But
But I'm just highlighting both
Yeah.
sides.
yeah,
They are not their forefathers. Others say it's the same blood,
Blood.
so it's still the same person. This really needs a topic or a show on its
Yeah.
own
It's
because
quite
the
this.
the
Yeah, good
the
discussion.
discussion about black and white,
so let me
race,
repeat it again. I'm
everything.
not defending them,
No,
so
no, 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 no. But
nobody
it's
should
good.
come for me. No,
But
I'm just warning the other people that are listening. I'm not.
yeah, before you get attacked online.
Yeah,
No, but we
that's not
need
my
to
stance.
highlight both parts.
Yeah.
If you really want to be
Indeed.
fair in the things and the statement that you make, you always need to shed light on both sides. And as I said, this needs a show on its own. Even now at school, I'm learning about American slavery and what
Mm.
happened. And yeah, when you read the things that they did over there, I can understand, as you
Grievous.
guys said,
Yeah,
the
it's
load that
Yeah, it's
African
crazy.
Americans feel is very different than, for example, here.
Yeah,
Here, it's already part of the institution, and it's like micro
yeah.
aggression.
aggression. Yeah.
They make certain
The
statements, and you
stain
know
with the
that,
looks and
yeah,
the
Yeah.
movement,
exactly.
but there's
But
also physical.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not the shooting. You're a black person, you're walking the street, and someone shoots you.
True.
Like
True.
the
True.
situation in
It's
America is
different.
crazy.
yeah,
Um, But to mention what both of you said, well, Gentiles are allowed in, not with open arms. They need to submit to the ways of Elohim. The Bible also says that we ought not to abhor an Edomite, for he is our brother. So, what the Bible says is what we follow in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. So, yeah, we should also try to practice that to also shine our light and not unconsciously be aware of the color,
yeah,
because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not going to talk about the Bible because
Yeah,
this
because
person
it's
is white.
white. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Maybe the person is looking. You never know. You right.
That's
So
true.
don't open your don't close yourself off by shining your light. You never know. You see it in the New Testament happening all the time that
yeah.
Gentiles
True.
add themselves to the word, so to the flock of Elohim. So let us be mindful of that. And then my last, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really a question, but the main message, of course, is that Elohim goes out to seek that lost sheep. And everyone can interpret that in their own way. But what does that personally mean to you? That Elohim goes out of his way to seek his people, to bring them back, is joyful when they come back. Yeah, what does that mean to you?
Maybe that
Mm.
yeah, that you're currently not on the right track doesn't mean that there's no There's no place at Elohim for you because he's willing to accept you.
Mhm.
But when he tries to come back and goes out of his way to find you, even though the other 99 are already in his proximity, that
Mhm.
also shows that the effort from his side is always there, but that you should also put the same effort in returning back to Elohim because a leader still needs to be followed. So when he's coming to find you, you should also be willing to follow his lead when he finds you.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Very
Nice.
very nice one. Thank you for sharing, Samuel. And Helena?
Yeah, what can I add to that? I think what I said in the beginning, that Elohim still cares about his people, and sometimes it might feel that we are far from him. Um, but also what we read in the New Testament, if you knock, Elohim is always there to open the door for you. So I think that what I would say is like, don't yeah, give up on the faith. If you have somewhat a desire within you or in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll wait for Helena to come back. Sometimes these things happen as well, you know. But what I would like people to remember from that message is also don't count yourself out. It touches upon the things that you guys already said. But sometimes you feel so lost and so dirty even to come back, or you are so lost in your ways. You're doing all manner of things that are opposite to the things that Elohim would like to have. But don't forget that even in that, Elohim really, really, really puts a lot of effort in finding his people and to make sure that they come back home. Um, I would find it very strange if someone would say, "Yeah, Elohim doesn't put in the effort. I don't hear anything from him." I think it's rather we as people ignore him when he calls us or tries to bring us back home. So yeah, don't count yourself too lost and know that Elohim is a very caring Elohim. Only Elohim that puts so much effort in his people. You don't see that in other types of beliefs and religions. So be appreciative of who he is, and also allow yourself to be found. The scripture also says that if he draws nigh, if we draw nigh unto him, he will also draw nigh unto us. So it's from both sides, but don't give up and don't put labels on yourself. Yes, you may be lost, but you can also be found. So don't give up in that sense.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It
I
can
was
happen.
interrupted a bit, but I think you both have said what I wanted to say. Or so at least what I want to say at last is,
Hmm.
don't give up. Don't give up. When Elohim is calling, please,
Hmm.
please, please pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys
Thank you.
so much for this fruitful session. I hope it plants the seeds in the right people. And as we also talked about, that those that might be watching this show, that it also strengthens them in their journey and also gives them the feeling that they're not alone. We are your brothers and sisters. We're just overseas, but we see you guys and we hear you guys. So for the people at home, our restoration tomorrow, 12 p.m. sharp. We are finished with the parables of Yahushuwah, and we are going to continue with lessons from Acts. So make sure that you tune in 12 p.m. sharp, and hopefully we can learn new and exciting things and help each other in this journey. It's not easy. It's not going to become easier, but as long as you're going to do it together with your community,
Mhm.
with those that are like-minded, and you follow Elohim and you seek Elohim also for yourself, it shall be all right. So once again, thank you everyone. This was the, I wanted to say, the hour of restoration.
Restoration talk.
Restoration talks. We will
Like
see
and
you
subscribe.
tomorrow. Yeah, like and subscribe, download, thumbs up. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.